Well, hello, and welcome to the Dune Awakening live reactions. Now, this one is interesting. Dune Awakening has been announced, oh god, I think 3 years ago at this point, which is by Funcom, if you don't know this. And it's a Dune survival game, very much in the whole idea of Conan Exiles, right? But with Dune. And we haven't really seen too much gameplay so far. We have seen a few short clips of gameplay here and there, and we have seen, of course, cinematic trailers. But I think this is the first time where they're showcasing more of the game. I'm definitely excited for it. I'm quite excited about the new Doom movie, which I still have to watch. And yeah, I'm just loving the world of Doom. So I'm looking forward to this for sure. There's one thing I have to note if you're wondering, oh, what's with the quality? Unfortunately, the streams are only available in 720p. So I'm recording this in 1080p, but the main feed is only 720p, and it doesn't really matter where I go. If it's Twitch, if it's YouTube, it's always 720p, which is the source, which is unfortunate. But we will make do. Let's watch the first showcase. I assume this is the first showcase, and they will have more in the future. Yeah, this we have seen on Twitter. This was like the first teaser thingy. I love the logo and how the logo is coming together. That's a big worm. And not for popcorn.
Hello and welcome to the
Hi.
Dune Awakening.
How are you doing, Zoe?
A brand new series where we'll be taking a look at all things Dune Awakening from our studio here on Arrakis.
That looks nice.
We'll be
nice green screen.
He's the Chief Creative Officer for Dune Awakening here at Funcoms.
Oh my god, I love the book stand.
Look forward to this year, and he will share some news about our beta testing phase.
That looks amazing.
We'll also be taking a look at the brand new gameplay trailer that we're just so excited to share with you.
Yeah, the betas have been going on for a while. Unfortunately, they are under NDA, and I have no access, which is really unfortunate.
Arrakis is this unrelenting anvil against which people are beaten and shaped and forged into something that's strong.
I hope they also take a little bit more freedom with the game. Like, I know that the books are beloved, the movies are doing super well, right? And I want
one of my favorite lines.
But I want to see if they can take a little bit of their own path with it.
You just jam on the brakes and let the sparks fly into people's imagination.
That's great. The spice must flow.
Arrakis is a test, is what the Fremen say. And the player comes right into the heart of that test. Dune Awakening is a survival game at the base level. And it begins like a traditional survival game, you know, like you're looking for water, you're looking for shelter. You know, where will you find water in the desert? Will you take it?
In that short clip, I couldn't help but think about Conan Exiles.
Kind of survive. And then when you've survived long enough, it's now time to think about political survival and how you progress within the universe.
I'm really curious how that will work, yeah, if it's just down to PvP.
Is we kind of have to think about where are the stark lines and how do we draw these epic spaces? How do we make them feel huge? And the player feels dwarfed by everything they see around them.
The intention was every time we saw the desert, it was highly brutal, and if you went out into the desert without the right protection and without the right knowledge, that it was sure death. If we looked at references from some of the hottest deserts in the world, the visuals that we saw from those deserts weren't...
I really have to say, I've been playing Nightingale recently, and just
since the very beginning, they've been very generous with sharing with us assets.
Seeing the desert, how it looks now in Unreal Engine 5, oh, such an improvement.
And his characters and the way he's grounding Arrakis. But of course, a game is a much larger scale, so we need to expand upon that vision. We have our own army of concept artists who are sending things back and forth with Legendary all the time. One of my best
That's really cool.
This project so far actually was I got to go and visit the set of the
I hope the license is not running out at some point.
Funcoms, the art
I've seen that too often in games. Oh.
And we got to walk around in the actual sets that they had built in classic old school set building, massive palaces. And
That's
we got
cool.
to look at the ornithopters from the inside and the outside, right? We got to walk around them and get a sense of their scale.
Well, I think what they had done really well is they'd been quite inspired by the world.
I'm actually surprised that they're not using too much green screen in the movies.
Sort of led on a journey by the director and by the script, whereas in a game you have the opportunity
Which is
to
great.
sort of create your own narrative and create your own journey.
I hate
But
the
exciting aspect of it is the
overuse
fact
of
that
green
you can
screen
take what you've
nowadays.
enjoyed and loved,
Especially bad
and you
green
can build
screen,
your
you
own
still see it.
stories and your own places, and that to me is the ultimate goal, is to have
Damn, the
complete
lighting.
control.
I assume that's nanite.
Using Unreal 5 to create a game is obviously one of the better
Lumen.
choices.
Sorry,
Unreal
my
5
bad.
gives us flexibility through the blueprinting system. It allows us to handle amazing graphics,
Which
through
is
the rendering
basically their
system,
ray
such
tracing,
as
so to
Lumen.
speak.
Lumen technology allows
Yeah.
proper light bouncing. If I had to say one thing in the game that really benefits from Lumen, it's player crafted spaces. In our
Yeah,
game,
Nightingale does this really well. They're also using Lumen and it looks fantastic, but it kills performance.
and the light will fill the room in a
It
way
kills
that
performance
feels
badly
and
because it's ray
technology
tracing.
hasn't existed before.
And I'm really hoping, like, unfortunately in Nightingale,
The LOD system. And that meant that
if you
could
don't
create
use
assets
Lumen,
of different LOD
it looks
models.
kind
It
of
doesn't
meh.
slow down everybody's computer. With Unreal 5, we have this new technology called nanite that breaks
Like,
things
it,
down
it
into
really
the
looks
right
meh
distance.
because they
So
didn't do
us,
proper
as a
lighting
company,
without
it's doing an
Lumen.
amazing difference
And
to
I
the
hope they
visual
don't do the same mistake here.
It allows us to create one really amazing looking cliff piece, for example, and then doesn't
That looks
matter
amazing.
how far away or how close we place it, it performs well and it looks great.
Where Unreal worked for us on Dune was that it was a fantastic pre-production and planning tool. On Dune Part 2 we had some very complicated scenes and we were able to previs all the way from Budapest what the light was going to be doing well in advance. It's the only tool that I've used, I would say, in my 25 years of shooting that is...
And that's why Epic changed their license so that movie companies also now have to pay a license fee for Unreal.
The most
Which they
iconic
haven't for a while.
creature
Huh.
in the Dune universe
Fun
is
fact.
the sandworm of Arrakis. And so we've tried to represent this in the game in multiple ways. So as a player, your first steps on the open
I can already see the videos of content creators. I try to pet the sandworm. Can you pet the
begins to
sandworm?
move towards you. And when it gets close, you hear the roar as it erupts from the sand nearby.
Yeah, they're
And
dead.
at that point,
Yeah, they're
you
dead.
have only seconds to live if you cannot make it to rocky ground.
Yeah, no,
So this
no.
is your first experience with sandworms.
They're
These are
dead.
the little ones. When you go into the deep desert, when you're harvesting spice, the giant ring-mouth sandworms that we've seen in the film will erupt underneath the spice blowers and suck harvesters and equipment down into the sand beneath.
Nom, nom, nom.
There's really only one rule. The sandworm will always come.
I wonder if there's a talent which you can learn which allows you to do like
Humans
the
have
walking
always
on
had
the
this
sand,
innate drive to
right?
create something, to build worlds.
I
whether
wouldn't be
it's innate,
surprised if that is a
Whether
thing.
it's in text, whether it's on screens, whether it's in games. Funcom as a company has been on this journey for a long time, creating multiplayer worlds where players can live out their dreams and
Yeah, and I've been there from the beginning, and let me tell you, you had some moments,
in the beginning with survival open world crafting games.
and I don't mean great
Dune
ones.
Is a combination of those legacies, bringing us forward into
But
the future. It's the culmination.
That
of
was
Funcom
early on, like
what
Funcom
we can
really
deliver.
did a
And this
180
legacy means that we need to really pay attention to what we're creating
on a lot of
and
things.
how we create
So,
for the fans, because I think at the heart of this, there's a lot of people out there who really want to live in the universe that Frank Herbert created, and they really want to live in the visual
This looks
world of
great.
films that they see from Villeneuve. And so we need to create the gap between those two possibility spaces and create a game world where people can live out their fantasies that they've taken from Dune. And yes, it's a huge legacy, and it feels at times extremely overwhelming, but we really hope that we can deliver something for everybody.
That looks great.
Wow, that was great. Creating captivating visions on the big screen and the immersive world of games, of course, both certainly come with their own unique set of challenges. And I think it's very clear that both mediums draw deeply from the seminal book that started it all. Now, of course, Villeneuve's movies have mesmerized the audiences with their adaptation of Frank Herbert's masterpiece. It's been showcasing the intricate politics, the very stunning visuals, and the harsh desert of Arrakis.
Hashtag
Now,
ad.
as we venture
Hashtag
into the
watch
game
part
and the
2.
challenges of bringing this rich universe to life,
Yeah, I haven't watched the
really
second part
takes
yet.
on new forms.
I really have to do
Here
that
to share this exciting
soon.
process with us is Joel Biles, the Chief Creative Officer for Dune Awakening. Joel,
No,
welcome to the first
Joel is
episode.
here.
Thank you very much for having me. It's exciting to be here.
I am so excited that you're
So
here because
unexpected.
I get to pick your brain. I have so many questions, and I want to dive straight into this. Dune Awakening is.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm
Two
like.
words everyone watching will be
I'm
familiar
excited
with.
about this.
But what's your
Don't get
take?
me wrong,
What
I
is a
really
survival
am.
MMO?
Like, this has been great so
Sure.
far.
So
But
survival
I am
games
just.
are
When it
obviously
comes
a
to
genre
marketing
that's getting about,
blurb,
like, building
I've been
yourself
working in
up
this
and
industry for
surviving.
over a decade.
MMOs
I've been
are
doing
more about
gaming
social
for
interaction and-
over
and
25
how
years,
players work
and it's
together to
just
achieve
whoosh,
big goals.
going over
And
my
we thought, why not
head.
combine
It
the
just
two?
doesn't
Why don't
click
we
with
create a
me.
game? Because most of the survival games that are out there, they kind of you once you get to a certain point of survival, you
Just a
switch
thing.
games, and that's kind of where you've gotten to. But
Not
what we
disrespecting
thought
the
was,
people
like,
in any shape or
the
form.
universe of Dune
Like, I
was
really appreciate the
these
work they're
politics
putting
and this
into this.
intrigue and this
And so far,
machinations
this
that
has been
happen.
great.
So
They have been on
let's
point
get
with all
players
the
hooked on
details.
survival and then bring them into the political survival of the Dune universe.
I'm really curious
Let's
about the
break it down
political
then
stuff
and
you
dive
just
a little
mentioned.
deeper, starting with the survival part. What are we surviving on Arrakis? What's out there? Worms?
Well, I would
Yeah,
say-
players?
Sandstorms.
What else?
Other
Sand?
players. Yeah,
Lots of
players-
sand.
Obviously,
It's going
Arrakis is
everywhere.
the heat and the water. So the player, first of all, needs to be searching for water.
Yeah, I'm
Stay
curious
out
how
of the
that
sun, stay in
works.
Black shade during the daytime, travel by night.
Dramatic, I love it.
That's what the Fremen say, right? That's what
Yep.
the Khitan al-Ghaib says it in the book, right? Black shade by day, travel by night. So the player needs to worry about these things. Think about the sunlight. Think about.
I wonder if they're actually doing this, doing a reverse in the game, where normally in games you are focusing on the day and night is always the, don't go outside at night. I wonder if they changed this around in Dune, right?
After a while, you start to throw up because you can't really get too much water out of plants that way. And then the more, the way I prefer to do it is to shoot enemies, take their blood, drink that.
You just casually dropped that right there. Okay, so we're harvesting blood, or
Look.
just lick some plants, whichever way you choose. You're gonna stay hydrated, which is very important.
Don't
Stay
lick the
hydrated at
sandworm,
home,
though.
In and out of game. Are there other resources I need to worry about?
Yeah, so as a player, I mean, it's a proper survival open world crafting game, right? So players will craft their entire arsenal, right? So they'll be collecting resources, they'll be collecting stone, they'll be collecting metals like copper, iron, eventually forging steel.
Also, this is not 720p anymore.
So they'll be crafting, all their weapons,
What is this
all
now?
of their gear, all of their clothing, and they can of course craft
Yeah,
themselves a
what?
base to live in.
That's not
craft
720p.
machines to help them craft bigger machines. which
100%
allow them to craft
not.
Better weapons and so forth.
All right, so there's a lot to do, is what I'm hearing. Base building you just mentioned, that's obviously very exciting. I saw you guys shared a sneak peek of what a base could look like.
Like, I'm watching this on my
already
4K
the
monitor
channel.
and
Very
looks
cozy.
really
Why
good.
would I ever leave a home like that and head out into the desert? But I'm sure you guys give us plenty of reasons to do just that. Is there anything special about the base building in this game?
Yeah, so we took what we started with in Conan Exiles, our other survival game. We brought that over. Then we started to add to it, right? So we've now created a system for co-op building where you can place out holograms and other players can fill them in. So you work with your friends to build bases.
Oh,
You can
that's
also
cool.
Save your base as like an architectural blueprint that you can then
Thank
sell
God.
to players on the exchange, or you can
Thank
give to your friends
you.
so they, if you make something really cool. One of the things we saw in Conan Exiles that I really liked was that players were building the Taj Mahal. They were just building really cool buildings, and it's like, what if you could sell that to another player? That'd be cool, right? So another player might want to be able to just buy that blueprint off you and then place that out in the world and build it themselves. So we're really enabling this sharing and sort of the way that
Are we talking about real money here or just
I
in-game
absolutely love that.
money?
Well, I know my story arc is going to be architect who harvests blood occasionally, but you do what you got to do. Now that I have my basic needs all met, I'm staying hydrated in some unkosher ways, and I'm having my base. How do I protect myself and my base from the world? Like, what am I doing for combat here?
So the game has a full leveling system, right? And we do this thing we call combined
Okay.
lives, which is like we have melee, we have ranged, and we have abilities, and we also have vehicles, right? So players can use any combination of these in combat, right? So it's kind of creates this interesting dynamic. So you can learn abilities.
I really wonder how many people you need to actively play this game.
Compelling your enemies to come close to you so that you can stab them with a knife. And you combine your, so you're combining melee with abilities there, right? Or you can be a sword master and leap in with a knee charge,
by the way,
people to the ground and then stabbing.
I love that
or
shirt.
You can choose to be like a trooper.
I know it's super simplistic,
to pull you up like a grappling hook, to pull you to high places.
but I love that kind of stuff.
On your enemies with sniper rifles and shotguns.
I want one. Thanks.
There's a large variety of weapons that you can craft through our intricate crafting system, in addition to these abilities that you learn as you level up your character. So you kind of have this freedom of choice, and that's really what Combined Arms is all about. It's sandbox combat. That's what we're trying to call it and what we're going for, right?
Sandbox combat. I see what you did there.
Can I explore different skill trees? Like, can I be a swordsman or a swordsmaster?
Okay, so we are going skill trees.
It's absolutely possible. You just have to find the right trainer in the world who'll teach you these things. So you choose in character creation, you make a choice of who was your mentor when you were young.
Oh.
You choose one of the things, and that determines your set of starting abilities. But then when you play the game, you find trainers in the world. You have to do things for them, but then they'll eventually teach you some of the ways.
Man, they're really going a different route in comparison to Conan Exiles.
So, lots of things to explore.
I was first fearing that Dune would just be Conan Exile
to protect myself,
with a Dune skin.
And maybe my friends, if I feel like it. What am I protecting? Like, how do I protect myself against sandworms? Like, can I fight them? Can
Which
I ride
it seems
them?
like they don't,
what's the deal with
which is
them?
great.
Sandworms are like a tension mechanic in the game. We want you to be really worried every time you walk on the sand. So you really need to think about what you're doing. So there is no way to kill or defeat sandworms. The only thing you can do, you just cannot. The only thing you can do is avoid the sandworms, right? So
you say that right now, but wait for the first YouTubers doing exactly that.
Use it to lure a sandworm onto some friends of yours or some
friends,
depending on how
as one does.
I
mean.
And the other thing you can do, of course, is craft yourself a vehicle. Like we have a range of vehicles in the game, including the iconic ornithopters, and players will be able to craft these, and you'll be able to use these to, of course, traverse safely, right? If you're in an ornithopter, you fly above. If you're on a sand bike or something like that, you can move quickly across the sand. Hopefully a sandworm won't get you if you time it right.
Hopefully.
Hopefully,
time it right.
I love a constant looming threat. Sounds really stressful. Sounds perfect, actually, for a survival.
I mean, it sounds.
Now,
Dune.
you already alluded to some of the cooperative things one can
I hope
do
it's not
in
getting
game.
too
Can you
annoying,
elaborate
though.
a little bit more here, or dive deeper into this? Like,
Sure.
Can I fully go on a journey with someone and like do tasks with each other? Like, what can I do with other people?
Yeah, so I mean,
yes,
hook
please.
Up with your friends, join together with a grouping system. We have a ping system, so you can, obviously point out things to players.
Okay, cool.
You will find different roles that you can assume based on the kind of combination of abilities you want to bring with you, and then you can heal.
I will not play a medic.
Get them up when they get
not this time.
Combat, things like that. And then, of course, you go on journeys.
Nope.
Like we have a system called the Journey System. You can go on those journeys together and sort of explore the mystic.
Did that in Enshrouded?
Through that, we also have a contract system.
My friends disappointed me.
You'll be able to take contracts.
I was more dead than they are.
Contracts together. We have small group play. We have guild play. It's all kind of what you'd expect to see in a social experience.
What's your take on the politics? Because obviously, the books and the movies, that's a big part of it. Like the whole.
Don't make it political.
How predominant is that in the game?
I mean, we want players to be able to dip into it. So you start the game kind of lost in the desert, right? And then by the end of the game, maybe you're the next Baron Harkonnen. So as you play through the game,
and who doesn't want to be him?
Yeah,
he's a good-looking man.
Oh yeah. Mm.
As you make your way through the game, you progress and you sort of meet these factions in the world, right? The Atreides and the Harkonnen are at war. There's a war of assassins going on, as it's called. And
yeah, well, no, which time it plays.
Which side you want to join?
Like in which time period?
In missions for those factions. And eventually, you work your way up through the ranks of the factions, and maybe you take on a position of power as well. So the politics
so it seems like there's more NPC interaction in this one,
players to develop their own politics around the sandbox,
which I think is really great.
The Landsrad will demand that players do certain things. The factions need to work together or against each other to achieve these goals, right? So there's also this sandbox element to the politics.
Which also then encourages like co-op play or PvP play more.
Co-op play or PvP play, yeah. Yeah, there's this kind of idea that, like, when people have the same objective.
I always
they're
have
on
to
opposite
smile when
sides,
they're
it
using
becomes a
German
race
words and
between
they're
to
trying to
achieve that objective,
pronounce
and they'll
them.
do all sorts of dirty things to get to the top, right?
Always makes me
Sounds
smile.
about right.
They're giving
On
always
that,
their
of
best
course, can
efforts,
just live
which
my
I
peaceful little
appreciate,
Swiss
of
life in my
course.
cottage?
Absolutely. You can play however you want. I mean, the idea is to be a sandbox and allow people to approach it how they like. We have one of the rules, one of the pillars of the game is expression and customization, and that's not just about visuals. It's customizing how you want to play the game. So it's really thinking about like, well, I really like to craft and just set up my little crafting setup and sell things on the exchange to other players. So you can do that. You can basically live your life.
He mentioned
as
the
a crafter.
exchange now
You can
multiple
also be
times,
an
so it seems
architect,
like there
as
is
we
an
talked about.
online
You're a pilot, a
marketplace.
scout. You're not really heavily involved in the fighting, but you go out and you craft maps that you sell to other players as well of the world.
So,
where are we currently?
are there
at?
multiple
Like,
servers?
Different betas already. How many more of those are coming? When is the next one?
I have so
Status
many
of
questions.
Development. Where are we at?
So yeah, we've been running betas now for several months. They've been going really well. We're slowly inviting more people over time. So the
And
game,
I'm never one of
We're
them.
not going to rush it out the door. We're going to work with our community and our players, and
Sniff.
we're going to try and make the game as good as it possibly can be.
Takes as long as it takes, man.
No,
Takes
it's
as
fine.
long as
I
it
have
takes, and you got to do it well.
lots of stuff to do.
So we're working with our community, and yeah, betas are continuing right all the way through launch, and we're going to keep increasing the number of people in those betas, helping us stress test, yelling at us because they get eaten by sandworms, all those kind of good things.
I don't think they're yelling at anyone anymore after they got eaten by sandworms.
Recent milestones you're particularly excited about, or anything you want to share about the?
It's more like a little.
Sure. There's a thing as a creative director I like to say that we get a few aces every time we make a project. We get to make a few creative bets. There's a thing called the shifting sands, which is one of my most exciting. One of the things that makes me most excited about the game, and that is this location in the world. It's a full PvP area. And every week, the Coriolis storm sweeps in and completely alters the landscape of this area. And I got to see that working for the first time very recently with full landscape changing and people able
That's
to play.
ambitious.
It's exciting to see these things coming online. And I think it's something people haven't seen before in a game.
But that seems like they are still working on gameplay mechanics. So from a development perspective, that's still
opportunities in the future to chat about the development
relatively far away then.
Now, any last words, anything you want to say to your future player base?
Yes, thank you everybody for joining us on this journey. I hope today's show was like your first taste of spice.
Your first taste of spice.
And leaving you wanting more.
I certainly want more of that now. I'm pretty sure everyone watching
This was good. This was good. Short, to the point.
Any of the future closed beta tests, head on over to
I'm glad.
DuneAwakening.com and sign up for the beta. Then head on over to Steam and wishlist the game. You can also join our Discord and follow our other socials at Dune Awakening. Also, of course, you can keep up to date on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, where we will be showcasing regular sneak peeks into the world of Dune Awakening. Now,
Yeah, I really like the presentation so far.
I'm pretty sure everyone has been waiting for. Let's take a look at our brand new gameplay trailer for Dune Awakening.
Funny enough, I was more interested in this than just the trailer.
Arrakis is a test. Few survive it.
Like I can watch the trailer on YouTube, right? Just like that. Like, man, the landscape looks really good. Yeah, he's dead. Sucks to be you, I guess. Yo, I love the animations. Whoa. Like, PvP seems to be, like, really important in this game, and I wonder, like, how much it is a necessity. And how many people you need for it. Okay, that looks cool. Okay, that looks freaking cool. I hope the building is smooth.
Arrakis is a test. Few survive it.
I love the
The
still
humans
suits.
that do awaken.
That's been pretty cool. It's kind of interesting that they're calling it an open world survival MMO. So MMO
Arrakis is truly
means
the most dangerous
massive
one.
multiplayer online, right?
I can't wait to
So,
be there. And I thank you all
how
so
many
much
people
for
can be on the
listening.
server is the
And
question.
Join us on the next Dune Awakening Direct.
Oh, when is that? That was good. Yeah, I wonder how many people are there on the server. Are we talking about a few hundred, a few thousand? Because normally when you are calling something an MMO, you are normally meaning tens of thousands of people, and they could technically all come to one spot if they wanted to. Right? That's normally the definition of an MMO. I know games in particular in the last few years have been very open with the term MMO, but then again, it's Funcom who has a long history of actually creating MMOs, MMORPGs, right? So, yeah, I'm curious how many people there will be. But, however, this is the end of the showcase. This was really good. This was on point, in my opinion. This is something I think a lot of showcases are falling behind. They're like, oh man, we have to fill up the 30 minutes. We have to fill up the hour. It's like, no, just talk about the things you want to talk. And when it's done, it's done. Like this reaction video is done right now. I reacted to it. I gave you my thoughts. And I'm looking forward to the next one. So if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I would appreciate that. It helps me out quite a bit. And you'll find all more information down below in the video description. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. I see you next time. Stay safe.